All right, guys. Welcome back. We are going to finish up this discussion about photosynthesis, and mainly we're going to look at photosynthesis at a very wide angle and very broad spectrum. Okay, we're looking at kind of what each thing does. We're going to narrow down in one particular part of the light-dependent reaction, but we're really going to keep it at a very large level. We're going to more focus on what each thing takes in and gives out. And then also takes in, gives out, and what do we use to get there? And then what do we send back to start this whole process again? So once again, the light dependent reaction occurs in the thylakoid, uses H2O, all right, to produce what this light dependent reaction really makes is ATP and NADPH. These are like energy charged molecules. And then they send them to the Calvin cycle. This occurs in the stroma, or that fluid of the chloroplast. All right. It uses this NADPH, ATP, and it takes it in along with carbon dioxide, and we make our ultimate product of sugars. So this is like the ultimate outcome here, but it's not just like I'm going to take in some CO2 and I'm just going to magically make sugars. No, don't work like that. Okay, there's a lot more going on here. All right, so the goal from photosynthesis is to make higher energy sugars. This requires turning that sunlight energy into ATP. Okay, so ATP is essentially three phosphates attached to an adenosine group. So we have essentially, it looks like, let's do boop, 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 boop. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so here's this is like a full battery, right? Then you have ADP. So with only 2 phosphorus, diphosphorus. So this is like half full. Okay. So what we're doing is we're going to take this in this ATP phosphorylation. We're going to add another phosphorus on here, and we're going to charge up our battery to send back to the Calvin cycle. All right. So let's talk a little bit about how we do this overall. So photosynthesis consists of a light reaction and the Calvin cycle. Sometimes you'll still see it called the dark cycle or the light independent reaction. Those are kind of garbage terms, so we use the Calvin cycle. So in the light reaction, we split H2O, release O2, we reduce NADP to NADPH, and we generate ATP from ADP, which is photophosphorylation, which we'll talk about in a little bit. In the Calvin cycle, so out comes boom, boom, boom. Okay. So here we're going to take in CO2, these outcomes, because we're shipping them right to here. Right. We're going to take in CO2 and we're going to give out, right? Sorry, drawing blank. Sorry, C6H12O6. Wow, just drew a little blank there. So we're going to get out that glucose molecule that we so desperately want. All right, so let's look. H2O comes in, gets split. I'm going to draw this in a second. Water or oxygen gas comes off. All right, when we do that, we make ATP and NADPH. We're going to talk a little bit more about how we make this one in a second. We send those to the Calvin cycle. We take in 6 of these bad boys. All right. This ATP and NADPH help to keep this spinning. Okay, this is is a cycle. It'll just spin and spin and spin and spin and spin. Okay. ATP and NADPH are the things that help keep it going. All right. So we come out here, we get 6 C's, 12 H's, 6 O's, we get a sugar. We take these things, which are the broken parts of these, or not broken, but they're kind of used up. Okay. And we send them back this way to get recharged, and then we go back to the other way and get recharged. All right, so let's talk a little bit about this ATP phosphorylation. So this is a process where we're going to use a concentration gradient to create, all right, ATP. We're going to use ATP synthase, ASE, so we know it is an enzyme. Good. All right. So we know it's an enzyme. So we're going to use this enzyme to create ATP from NADP plus ATP from ADP and another phosphorus. So here's how it works, and we're going to talk. You don't need to know. This is called the ECT, or the electron transport. Really what I want you to notice here, okay, is that we have, right, 5 H's, and this one coming soon. Okay, this is that ion pump, all right, that we've talked about in transportation. Okay, so we got a couple over here, but really we have a high concentration of H plus, aka protons, on this side, and a low concentration of H plus, aka protons, on this side. So we use this ATP synthase, which is just a port. It's going to take it from area high concentration to an area of low concentration. So it's just facilitated diffusion. That's it. All right. Takes it across, and as it does that, it takes ADP plus a phosphate, okay, and adds it, and we get ATP. Now we have a fully charged battery. Okay, this happens with NADP plus, all right, as well. So NADP plus gets added essentially a proton on top, turns into NADPH. Now we have our high energy molecules to send to the Calvin cycle. So without this little part right here, all right, we are not making our high energy molecules that we need to send to, all right, the Calvin cycle. So the electron transport chain, these molecules then use light energy to form a concentration gradient of H plus ions, all right. Then once they go across the gradient, they take ATP and make ADP and make ATP. Okay, so now you can see this is the Calvin cycle. Now you can kind of see where and why we need to make all these ATPs. So I use 12 ATPs here. So I use ATPs and I give back ADPs. I use 12 NADPHs. All right, I give back 12 NADP plus. I got 6 ATP and I give back 6 ADP. And these are all going to go back, okay, to the light-dependent reaction. Okay, so these are all going to go back to the light-dependent reaction. So, and then it just becomes this great cycle. So, as I said, 6 CO2, go in, boom, come out to this bad boy right here. All right, some more of them are going to go on. All right, if you really love this stuff and you want to take cell biology, you can get to learn all the intermediates like I did in high school or in college. Super duper fun. All right, last little thing, some factors that affect photosynthesis. We've got water supply, okay, low water supply. All right, if you don't have water to split, all right, cause problems, right? Duh. All right, amount of sunlight, like we're going through right now, being fall. Leaves are changing, colors are changing. There's less and less light therefore less and less time to do photosynthesis. And about less than a month, most trees will have dropped all their leaves because it is no longer advantageous for them to actually hold them. It's costing them more energy to try to keep them than to just get rid of them. So they get rid of them, go dormant. And when spring rolls around, we'll put some more flowers back on. And temperature. Temperature can have an effect on photosynthesis. Higher the temperature, usually to a certain degree, more photosynthesis. There is a point of diminishing returns where it's going up and up and up, and then like, right, gets too hot. But by and large, higher the temperature, higher the rate of photosynthesis. Right. If you got any questions, come on in with them. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.